Audience for presentations.
I'll watch it online.
Yes, and maybe there are
That's
thousands
true.
of them at home. Winnie, are we all set? Okay. The board met tonight in executive session. We're now ready to commence the public portion of our meeting. We last met on January 7th, and we have had no written communication since then. I have a short president's report. It is budget season, with the budget a work in progress, both here in Glen Ridge and at the state level. The Finance Committee has gone over a preliminary version with Barbara, but there are still many pieces to add to the puzzle. The biggest piece, of course, is our state aid, which is due out within 48 hours of the governor's budget speech on February 25th. And I should add, a large and confusing amount of information is being issued by the new administration, especially about pauses and other actions pertaining to various types of federal funding. Everybody I know, everybody I work with is working to stay on top of the news, and I know our administration is working to stay on top of the news. But we welcome questions pertaining to financing and to the operation of the Glen Ridge Public Schools. We can't answer all the questions, but we can answer the Glen Ridge Public School questions, or try. And that is the President's report. Are there any questions? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Happy to deliver that report from the podium. Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to share some celebratory highlights from across the district, followed by an update on our district goals and the progress we've made toward achieving them. While this is just a sampling and not an exhaustive list, these celebrations showcase some of the great accomplishments happening in our schools in recent weeks. A huge congratulations to senior Riley O'Sullivan. I'm not sure, Maggie, if I'm stealing your thunder. Am I? A little bit, sorry. She deserves accolades twice. Who joined the short list of Ridgers to score 1,000 career points for the girls varsity basketball team. Riley reached this incredible milestone on Sunday at Pascack Valley High School. Kudos to the 7th and 8th grade History Club academic teams who competed at the New Jersey State Championships of History at Ridgewood High School on January 18th. The 7th grade team has qualified for the National Championship in Orlando this May, which is an incredible achievement. Glen Ridge High School has earned the AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award for expanding access to the AP Computer Science principles for young women during the 2023-2024 school year. The award recognizes 50% or greater female representation in the APCS classroom. Special thanks to Kevin George and Corinne Jozowski for their efforts to bridge this gender gap, particularly in advanced computer science classes where female participation is traditionally underrepresented. Our students are making a difference in the community as well. The Women in Sports Club is organizing a used equipment drive for disadvantaged kids. The Key Club is collecting donations for personal hygiene products for domestic violence shelters across New Jersey. And the Community Service Club is hosting a coat drive for the Human Needs Food Pantry. Transitioning to RAS a little bit, 4 students have advanced to the next round of the National Geography B to be held in Florida. Vera Roman, Dylan Meiser, Theo Raining, and Emery Pollux. Congratulations to them on this accomplishment. Also at RAS, the school is embracing the power of gratitude this year, the capital GR. The program is called Give Thanks, and as of January 27th, RAS has given out an incredible 15,179 notes of thanks. These notes can be shared by all staff and students, a true celebration of appreciation. Capturing Kids' Hearts is in full swing this month with a focus on January's theme of respect. Parents are encouraged to participate through monthly newsletters that tie into these important lessons. And penultimately, the Glen Ridge High School Counseling Department will host a college admissions panel led by the Executive Director of Colleges That Change Lives on Thursday, February 27th at 7 p.m. in Raz's Auditorium. Students and parents of all grade levels are welcome to attend. Special thanks to the Middle School, High School, Home and School Association for funding this valuable event. Finally, thanks to the tech team for issuing 9th graders new touchscreen Chromebooks last week. These accomplishments highlight the incredible work happening across so many classrooms in the district. I look forward to continuing to share these updates with you as the year progresses. And speaking of our school year progressing, if my calculations are right, I think they are. Today was the 89th day of school, meaning tomorrow is the exact midpoint of the school year, and a good time, I think, to share some progress on updates of our district goals. So a few prefacing notes to frame this discussion. These goals represent just a few of the key areas of focus for us as a district. Much of our ongoing work, such as making progress on the recommendations from our special education audit and ensuring that diversity is honored and inclusivity is prioritized, remain high on our list of priorities. These efforts, though, serve as threads that we've woven throughout these goals and action steps in some cases, and in other as vital initiatives we're pursuing outside these specific goals. Additionally, the progress and potential next steps I'm sharing with you tonight are just a snapshot of the broader work being done. So to keep this presentation concise and focused, I've highlighted just a few action steps that I think do the most work for us in telling the story of our progress so far. So this year, the district's pursuing 4 primary goals about which you're well aware. First, we're revising pre-K-12 English language arts curriculum to reflect current research and trends in literacy instruction. Second, we're continuing to strengthen our social emotional teaching and learning through the development of a framework to align and connect the work of the schools, the work of these programs. Third, empowering educators and students to navigate artificial intelligence, ensuring there's a collective understanding of its potential and limitations. And then finally, improving human resources leadership by streamlining processes, supporting staff well-being, and fostering a positive organizational culture. So I'm going to sort of unpack each one quickly, share some of the work we've done, and then maybe also where we're going next in these 4 areas. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So we've made significant strides in revising our ELA curriculum. To start, we've surveyed teachers across grade levels to better understand their needs, our current curricular strengths and growth areas. The results were then unpacked with committees and administrators, ensuring our work aligns with the district's vision and values, and also making sure that we know what those visions and values are. From this, we identified key focus areas, enhancing K-6 writing instruction, and addressing reading lists and text selections in grades 7 to 12. So what's next in this area? Looking ahead, we're planning opportunities to enhance vertical and horizontal alignment in the curriculum. K-6 is starting to pilot a new writing approach, new materials supported by professional development we're planning, while 7 to 12 will focus on continued dialogue around text selection. We know from a broad research base that social emotional learning is a cornerstone of student success, and we're engaged in the important work of building a cohesive district-wide framework. In pre-K through 2, teachers are engaging in professional development and implementation, as you've heard several times here at board meetings, around capturing kids' hearts. Grades 3 to 6 have begun piloting collaborative problem solving with select teachers, and for grades 7 to 12, we reviewed current SEL efforts and identified in the process of identifying areas of growth, and again, like connecting the dots between all this work. Next steps in this area include progress monitoring and reflection to scale up these initiatives. Our broader focus is connecting the various SEL programs and strategies across the district to create this unified framework that ensures a mapped progression of social emotional learning and well-being from grades pre-K through 12. The third area, AI. We know that AI is rapidly becoming a critical tool in all areas of our lives, including teaching and learning, and we started the journey to empower both teachers and students in navigating this evolving landscape. Administrators, my team and I, we've begun discussing beliefs about AI's role in teaching and learning, while teachers have explored introductory AI tools and applications. At the high school, Mr. Lawler facilitates ongoing conversations with students about AI's implications for school-related issues. Moving forward, we want to explore potential policy and regulation language to provide a structure around our use of AI. Professional development opportunities will be expanded. We're thinking on the February 14th half day and also the March half day, and we're looking forward to identifying explicit ways to integrate AI instruction into curricular units and classroom practices. Finally, a strong organizational culture starts with effective human resources. This year, we've developed recruitment materials. They're in press right now, and expanded outreach through increased participation in virtual and in-person job fairs, which will begin next month. We're also in the process of studying HR roles and responsibilities to align them with the district's operational needs and introduce exit interviews, in the process of introducing exit interviews to support organizational health. Right. And so in this area, looking ahead, I'd like to formalize key HR processes, such as memorializing the head coaching protocols, which we recently developed. We also plan to dabble in and think about stay interviews to complement our exit interview process. And then hopefully these steps will help streamline HR functions to foster a healthier, more efficient, stronger organizational culture. But big picture, as we reflect on our progress, I'd love for our focus to shift a bit to sustaining and expanding the work already underway. I think it's a good idea to update the community more broadly on our district goals and the progress we've made. Additionally, we aim to integrate findings from other initiatives, as I said earlier, to further inform this work. By the end of the year, we'll have a more complete sort of achievement report that not only captures our accomplishments, but also outlines the next steps for growth. I am happy to take questions from the board.
Questions?
What do you mean by a stay interview? At what point would that happen? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I love that question. So when you are a college professor, right, you ask your students for feedback, but the semester's over, and hopefully that feedback informs like future sessions, right? So same mentality kind of for exit interviews. In a way, exit interviews are summative, and hopefully they make the experience better for current employees and future employees. But stay interviews are having conversations with people who are here, who have invested in Glen Ridge as their sort of teaching home, and finding out more about like what culture and climate is like for them. So thinking about how do you leverage teacher input, not just when teachers say, I'm ready to move on or resign or retire, but those teachers who are here and have committed to us. How do we lift up their feedback to make our structures, our thinking, our processes stronger and better?
That's awesome. I like that.
Other questions?
On the LA curriculum review, you mentioned something about vertical and horizontal articulation, and I'm just wondering if you could describe what is meant by that.
Yeah, so we were thinking actually in dabbling in the new writing curriculum, right? Instead of having just first grade teachers who are piloting the writing materials receive professional development together, it might be powerful to mix the groups so that there's a kindergarten teacher with the first grade teacher with the second grade teacher. Dr. Donovan and Mrs. Marks are doing really great work now in a sort of bridge professional learning community. I think next year will be the first year RAS has third graders coming from all three pre-K2 schools, I believe, right? And so there's an opportunity for some vertical and horizontal articulation that way. So how can third grade teachers across the board have more time together, right? That's the horizontal, but vertically, in what ways do third grade teachers know what's happening in fourth grade and in second grade too? Yeah, so could we think about those goals as ways to drive our professional learning, right? So like less teaching in silos and more teaching across grade levels and content areas.
Other questions or comments? Kristen?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
You had a follow-up?
Well, not a follow, a different goal, but you can go first.
I wanted to learn a little more about what the AI integration, the education of use of AI for students potentially looks like. And I know you haven't done it, so I'm not asking for the curriculum, but
yeah. Maggie and I and some of our colleagues, peers met the other day, and I don't know if you'll cover this in your report, but we were speaking a little bit about AI. So some teachers have already, I think like there's a 7th grade research cycle, 7th or 8th grade? So there are some places in our curriculum already where there's like explicit instruction happening in the use of AI. But something we were talking more about is sending the message of, or teaching into the idea, like, let's use AI, let's think with AI instead of having AI think for you, right? That's, I think, needs to be a goal of some of that work. Right? The ethical uses of AI.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kristen?
Could you go back to number 2
Yeah, please.
for a moment? There was, the next slide, maybe? Oh, the district-wide connect social emotional learning efforts. So is there like a roadmap already penciled out, like in very light sketches? Or is this like a
Yeah, so,
work in progress? Or is there like a dream landscape you're working towards?
yeah, always working towards a dream landscape. So there are SEL pillars, right? Castle has a model framework. So think about one prong of SEL being self-regulation. How do the efforts we have in grades 7 to 12 feed into that goal in collaborative problem solving, in capturing kids' hearts? I think there's all this great work happening, but maybe we haven't thought about it in like connected ways. So I think taking like the pillars of SEL and seeing where we do the work of that pillar well and where there are maybe some gaps we need to address could be really generative work for us moving forward in our SEL endeavors. Yeah.
Other questions? If there are none, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
I actually have one other question that's
Oh,
not related to the district.
sure.
I'm sorry, I'm like super chatty tonight. But only because we're almost at the halfway mark and it's been in the news. Can you refresh my memory of where we are with cell phones? Like, are we waiting for the state to?
Yes.
Or swap?
I have a statement written about that if you allow me to.
Sorry. I thought you said you concluded.
Yeah. Just want to make sure. I thought through response to that, I want to make sure I don't miss anything, right?
Okay, now it's time for public comment, but we don't have any public to comment to us. Since we may have people with us online, always know that we are available by email. If you think of something, a public comment or question pertaining to the operation of the schools. So with that, it is not the first meeting of the month, but we absolutely have Maggie here to give us a report.
And then maybe after
And
Maggie,
then we
sure.
could-
Yeah, after Maggie, I'll just address Mrs. O'Neill's question, because I think cell phones may come up in your report too.
Well, okay.
Yeah, sound good? Wherever you'd like.
Hi. Our winter sports teams continue to see success in their seasons. As Mr. Arlington mentioned, on Sunday, girls basketball senior captain and MIT basketball commit Riley O'Sullivan scored her 1,000th career point. The boys wrestling team had several wrestlers place in their Essex County tournament this past week. The English department hosted the Poetry Out Loud competition for the first year, where almost 30 high schoolers recited poems. The winner, junior Chloe Navoa, will go on to compete in the state finals at the South Orange Performing Arts Center. And the Glenridge Chorus and Band played in their winter concert last week. And last Thursday, Mr. Arlington and I met with a small group of students for the second time. The first time we met was in December, before break. And in this group, we discussed topics such as workload and curriculum, Glenridge culture, the use of artificial intelligence, mental health resources, and the effectiveness of policies, specifically the cell phone policy, in the high school. The students who are involved agree that the student perspective is an important consideration for running our school district and passionately voice their opinions during each conversation. I've appreciated the opportunity to collaborate with Mr. Arlington, and I look forward to future meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, board members? Oh, Jocelyn.
Maggie, on that student superintendent committee, is it all seniors or is it a mix of classes that are represented?
It's
Any other questions for Meg? Okay, even though it's not the first meeting of the month, does anyone have any reports that are time sensitive? Yes.
Sorry, just, I feel I should share the Ridgewood Home and School meeting just occurred, and a very important date is coming up, which is the TREPS market registration.
Oh, my goodness,
On
yes.
February 6th. So for those families that weren't at the HSA meeting or maybe haven't received the email notices, the TREPS Marketplace is an entrepreneurial training program where your child goes through, I think it's a 6-week after-school program on becoming an entrepreneur and doing a business plan. And it culminates in a big marketplace that happens in the evening and is mobbed with people shopping for your child's wares. It's very popular and tends to sell out in the first 2 minutes after it opens at 2 o'clock on February 6th. So if any Ridgewood parents are out there and they want to set up their login station beforehand, that would be great. And if you're not able to secure a spot, you can go on the waiting list and you will be guaranteed a spot in the future years. So that's the big Ridgewood news.
Anyone else have anything that is time sensitive? Okay. All right, you have in your packets minutes from January 7th, executive session and regular meeting, and January 14th, which was our board mini retreat. Jocelyn, would you move the minutes?
I move item M1.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Anthony. Any questions, comments, or changes to the minutes? All right, with that, Barbara, will you call the roll?
Ms. Akinwande?
Aye.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. Denard?
Yes.
Mr. DeLorenzi?
Yes.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We have several administrative items. Kristen, would you move the administrative items?
Yes, I move A1 through A3.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jocelyn. Any questions on these administrative items? For those who don't know, A3, the Uniform Memorandum of Agreement, spells out all the arrangements and agreements and definitions concerning the board's relationship with the Glen Ridge Police. And we do it every year, so this is just this year's version. And with that, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Ms. Akinwande?
Aye.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. Denard?
Yes.
Mr. DeLorenzi?
Yes.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, Anthony, would you move the personnel items?
Yes, I'll move P1, including the addition on the addendum, and P2 through P13, P12 will be tabled for further discussion.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jocelyn. All personnel items are discussed in exec session if necessary. Barbara, will you call the roll?
Ms. Akinwande?
Aye.
Mr. Bonnet?
Yes.
Mr. Denard?
Yes.
Mr. DeLorenzi?
I will abstain as to P2 and yes to the remainder.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Aye.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Heather, would you move the curriculum items?
Sure. I move C1, including item M on the addendum, through C2.
I'm sorry?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second from Tricia. Any questions on the curriculum items? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Ms. Akinwande?
Aye.
Mr. Bonnet?
Aye.
Mr. Denard?
Yes.
Mr. De Lorenzi?
Yes.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, before we move the business items, I'd like to recognize the donations that are listed under B4. The Glen Ridge Girls Lacrosse Booster Club has given a monetary donation of $3,674.28 for the girls lacrosse program. So thank you to the Girls Lacrosse Booster Club for that generous donation. And with that, Heather, would you move the business items?
Sure, I move B1 through B10.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second.
I think Anthony got that. We'll give Anthony a second. Okay, any questions on the business items? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Ms. Akinwande? Mr. Bonnet?
Yes.
Mr. Denard?
Yes.
Mr. De Lorenzi?
Yes.
Ms. Gottlieb?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Ms. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Yaros Ramos?
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, and seeing that we have not gained any additional audience members since the opening of the meeting,
Can
Yes.
Kyle elaborate on the cell phone policy?
I'm sorry?
Kyle was going to elaborate on the cell phone policy, kind of switch that for.
I was going to read a statement.
Oh, yes, thank you.
So continuing to try to make a sort of thoughtful and measured approach to discussions and decisions regarding cell phone use in school. Just as a reminder, our current guidelines are away for the day in K-8 and off and away during instructional time in grades 9 to 12. We continue to evaluate the effectiveness of these practices through conversation with the high school administration, with our student group. We also recently hosted a community session navigating the digital landscape with a special focus on social media and setting limits at home. A recent prong to this work has been I queried superintendents in Essex, Morris, and Union counties to better understand the policies they have in place and how they differentiate or scale based on grade level. Most are aligned to what we're doing. Happy to share that data out, though, in one of my Friday updates. And then, of course, the policy committee is meeting, I think, next week or the week after. And top of mind there is to look at the model language that Strauss-Esme put together and have some conversations at the policy committee level about formalizing our current practice or recommending adjustments.
Okay, any questions on cell phones? The cell phone legislation is making its way through the legislative process, but it should not have any impact on this process because it just mandates that we have a policy. So, any other questions or comments on cell phones? Okay, with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Just one, before we go, there's one highlight, student highlight that I heard at
Oh.
the HSA meeting that, I didn't see on the slide, so maybe, there we have one student, I think his name is Jonathan, he's a fencer, and he qualified for the sectionals in the state of New Jersey. So, Mr. Hill got certified to be his coach, but we have one student who's done so well that one student who's a fencer, we don't have a fencing team, but he qualified for the state sectional, so I thought that was, well worth noting.
Absolutely, and if anyone asks about our fencing program, that's the whole sum of it. Okay, that being the case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Moved by Darius? Oh, Anthony, sorry. Darius was looking like he was about to. May I have a second?